This podcast provides a platform for our guests to share their experiences and inspire our listeners to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. As you listen, we invite you to explore how these concepts apply to your own story. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful. We're mic'd up with Mike DiCioccio. I'm here with Kate Glaser from Make-A-Wish. We're here in studio. Thank you for letting us use your conference room to do this.
Me.
This is an honor.
Thank you.
We kind of have a little bit of background going back to Buff State. We did some production together,
We do.
media production, and it's cool to see how the world works and people stay connected, even when it's unintentional.
Absolutely.
You kind of cross paths, right? And so I'm honored to have you on my show early on. We just launched this thing a couple weeks ago. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, I didn't know I was going to be doing this show. So,
Well, congratulations to you for this new venture.
thank you so much. What I'm going to do is kick off the show with your bio.
Sure.
If anybody doesn't know about Kate, you're going to learn right here, okay? So long-winded, I may try a full glass of water to get through this.
You can choose to skip some parts if you like.
I'm going all in. I'm going all in. We have about 30 minutes to do this show, and I want to do it right. So Kate is a media marketing expert in Western New York, in the Western New York region. First starting her career in television news. She spent time at both News 4 and Spectrum News Rochester and Buffalo, which is YNN at the time, as a live morning reporter and content producer. After many early mornings and receiving 2 awards for her compassionate reporting, she discovered her love for the nonprofit sector. In 2011, she made the move to PR and marketing, first at Make-A-Wish Western New York and then Mercy Flight. Realizing her passion for transforming the lives of children with critical illnesses, she transitioned back to Make-A-Wish to help elevate the Wish cause in her community. She's now Senior Manager of Brand and Communications at the world's leading Wish granting nonprofit. Kate is part of the 2015 Buffalo Business First 30 Under 30, and she is the founder of Hope Rises News. As if she's not involved with enough, she's got this awesome initiative that promotes stories of hope and love with a 50,000 plus fan base in a short period of time. Together with her community, she has raised more than $50,000 for nonprofits and families in need. She is a proud wife and mother of twin toddlers. Kate is also passionate about animal rescue, and she has 3 rescue dogs. And her life motto, I love this, is lead with your heart and do the work that sets your soul on fire. And that right there sets me on fire. That is why I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Long-winded, but necessary for you guys to have an understanding of who Kate is.
Absolutely. Thank you for that great introduction.
Not a problem. Thank you for all that you're doing in Western New York, the community. You give so much. And I have some questions, kind of a skeleton for the show.
Sure.
Because as much as I want you, and at the end we're going to showcase what you're doing and how people can connect with you on social and through the web. But I feel what can really help inspire our listeners, and again, people know what the show is all about now, to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. So I feel your story, the road that you've been on since I've last seen you, which was about 11 years ago, not to date us
crazy,
here,
right?
So your story, what makes you Kate, right?
Sure.
And some of the trials and tribulations that you've been on, good, bad, ugly, that make you who you are. So first, let's talk about, when do you feel that your passion and compassion for helping children began? Is that something that was instilled in you at a young age, or through an example or action set by your parents or family?
Sure. So I always loved children. I was kind of one of those teenagers that had a babysitting job at 12, and nowadays that would not be a thing. But I always just loved children, and I grew up in a very large family. We were a split family, so I have step siblings, I have half brothers and sisters, I have real brothers and sisters. Obviously, they are all real siblings, but
Right.
I come from a very big family, so I kind of was in that position to help raise my family members.
Where are you in the ladder?
I am kind of on the lower end of the ladder. But my sister was diagnosed with cancer when she was 3 years old. It was prior to me even being old enough to understand what my family went through. But I remember my dad just being so upset when talking about it. And it just taught me that I need to realize that other people are going through struggles, and it really hit home for me. So when I got the opportunity to work for Make-A-Wish, I fully understood how cancer can impact a family and how it's so important to really just, try to do the best you can to help children in need.
Yeah, you saw it firsthand, and you knew really the insides of, caring for someone going through it. How people came together. You saw your family. I'm sure you saw some friends reach out.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely.
You got to see what it truly takes. What am I trying to say here? Like the interior of a support system for someone going through that
Absolutely.
at 3 years old.
Absolutely.
Sorry to hear that. So how long ago was that?
It was forever ago.
Sure.
She's doing great today. She
Awesome.
has 2 beautiful children, my nephews.
Yes.
But, Roswell was an important part of our family. It really saved my sister's life back then in the 80s, 90s. It was late 80s, early 90s type of journey. It was a long journey for her. But Roswell was her lifesaver. And back then, the survival rate of cancer was much lower than it is now today. So, just really taught us that the community is here for you. And if it wasn't for the community at that time, I may not have my sister today.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. So we were both at Buff State at the same time on camera, and one behind the camera. I think we know who belonged where. Rightfully so. So funny enough, our paths both lead us to marketing and media,
Sure.
which is what we're doing now for our own personal businesses and your role. So tell us about your journey on camera and how your focus and passion later transformed to the nonprofit world. So where do you see that transition taking place?
So I love being on camera. I think I'm most comfortable if you get me in front of a crowd of like 20 people or even 100 people and I have to talk on stage. I freeze up. I hate it. And then you put me in front of a camera and I just light up. So I've always loved theater. I've always loved, just having cameras present, just my personality. So, and I love storytelling. And that's really, I started actually at the Tonawanda News. If you're from the Western New York region, you may know what the Tonawanda News is. It no longer exists. But I got my start there when I was 15 years old. They believed in me and they said, you know what, we're going to make you a young editor. So I had my own little section there when I was in high school. And it taught me that I really love storytelling. But I really liked the TV aspect of storytelling. So News 4 gave me my start when I was 19 years old. Wow. I became an intern at News 4. I interned for a long time, worked for free for a long time, and then they actually ended up hiring me while I was still in college as a producer. So sometimes you got to really just work until and work for free sometimes. You have to put the work in to do that. So I did storytelling for a long time on air with Channel 4 and also Spectrum News Buffalo, which was YNN, and loved it, but it was a very, very hard career. I was up in the morning at 3 a.m. I had to report on crime. And
you were the one finding the story as well as reporting it?
Yes, and I was also a backpack journalist, so I had to do everything on my own. And sometimes I would get a photographer, but mostly I was on the streets by myself with a camera. I was setting up myself. I had to go live by myself. This is probably like social media as a marketing tool, right? Absolutely.
We're talking like 2008, 9 maybe?
Yeah, around that time.
Facebook's coming out. It's a college-only platform at that point.
It was definitely a transition for sure. So, I loved it, but I just felt like it tired me out so fast. We would work 12 hours a day and I would have to be back up in the morning at 2:30 in the morning to get to work and had to be ready to go on camera. It was a very, very tiring career, but it really taught me a lot. And I had the opportunity to go to Make-A-Wish. I first became a Wish story writer. So I was a volunteer for Make-A-Wish for about a year. Then this position came open as a marketing manager. I didn't go to school for marketing. I didn't know anything about it, but I said, well, I can tell a story. And that's really what marketing is about. And I love Make-A-Wish. I love what they do, giving wishes to kids who are so sick and bringing their families together. So I said, you know what? I think that's a perfect transition right into the marketing role. It didn't take me long to really learn how to be a good marketer, especially for a nonprofit that you truly believe in.
Right.
So that's kind of how it worked out.
You were bit by the bug.
I was.
Experience. You saw the inside of it. Again, kind of like talking about the story. You got to see behind the scenes of what was going on. And, it took off from there. So then you started to, at that point, transition a little bit away from Channel 4, or were you still doing that for a few years while you were involved heavily with Make-A-Wish?
So I actually was at Spectrum News when I transitioned over to Make-A-Wish, and I fully left my job at Spectrum, and I went over to Make-A-Wish. I still was doing some commercial work and some on-air work, but I transitioned over to Make-A-Wish.
Awesome. So, look, I love to hear your experience that helped you land your current position as Senior Manager of Brand and Communications at Make-A-Wish. So congratulations on earning that. I know it's not something you wake up one day and they hand you, here you go, you got it. But so as you mentioned, it was years of kind of grinding it out, and those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. days of, building up your resume and doing what you love to do. So you're Senior Manager of Brand and Communications at Make-A-Wish. Tell us about your path over the last several years to get to where you are today.
It's been a lot of work and just really putting myself out there. I was first at Make-A-Wish for a couple of years. Then I went over to Mercy Flight. I wanted to see kind of what another nonprofit was about and how it operated. But I really felt like Make-A-Wish was still in my heart. So I worked at Mercy Flight for 2 years. I did all of their PR and marketing. I worked for a life-saving helicopter agency. It really was amazing to see what they do in the field and how they save lives. And I came back to Make-A-Wish. I've been with Make-A-Wish for about 9 months now. And we've changed a lot. Our brand has changed a lot. We've really tried to grow our brand. So I'm kind of in that really amazing part of my career right now. We're, working for the #1 nonprofit for wish granting and, pediatric causes. And their brand is so strong. So I feel very lucky to be here doing this work.
To be back, kind of feel like you're at home.
Absolutely.
Do you have some of the same connections that you had originally?
Yeah, so all the same colleagues here. I work with a wonderful team of people that are also passionate about what they do. So I feel very alive, and I feel like it's just in a really infectious spirit here at Make-A-Wish, for sure.
Phenomenal. I love when I was walking in the front doors. I mean, you have the chairs set up. There's stuffed animals, Mickey, Minnie.
I know. A lot of gifts in here.
You feel
for the
greeted.
kids.
You feel like you're walking into someone's home. They're greeting you.
Yeah. We try to make it really special.
You feel like you're
for
a
these
guest
kids.
here.
Yeah. And we have wish kids that come in. We have wish families that, stop by and either pay it forward with a donation, or we have them come and they pick up gifts. So we want to make them feel at home for sure.
Yeah. You guys definitely do a phenomenal job at that. So share more about Hope Rises. I think people want to know where the idea came from, and when did you have the dream to create that initiative? What are some of the highlights since launching, and where do you see that going?
Sure. So Hope Rises started 2 years ago. I can't believe how much it's grown. I didn't realize that it would really impact the people that it has.
You started the main idea.
I
You're
did.
the founder of
the founder of the
company,
brand and the logo. And we're not a nonprofit. We're really not a company. We're just kind of an initiative. So really a blog that showcases stories. We don't really have any ambition to make it a nonprofit. It really is any money that comes through, we disperse it completely 100%. We don't collect any money for Hope Rises. I do this fully a passion of mine to really help others. So I was driving home from Florida. My twins were in the back seat. They were a year old, and we had a really amazing trip with my family. My dad had actually won an auction item at the Make-A-Wish Gala, so he won a Florida house. So we were there for a week, and it was wonderful. And on the radio, I heard about the tragedy in Las Vegas with the country concert and this horrible man taking the lives of so many innocent people. And I said, you know what, I felt helpless. I felt like there's something more I can do personally to try to stop hate in this world, but I didn't know what. So I said, I was at Mercy Flight at the time, and I felt like I needed to do more positive storytelling. So I said, you know what, I'm a good storyteller. Why not start a positive news blog? I'd always thought about blogging. I talked about blogging, but just didn't have the time, having twins and just going through a lot in my life. So I said, you know what, now's the time. They're a year old. I can really maybe make a brand and launch it. So I kept driving. It was a long drive, obviously. I think I was in Georgia when I heard the news about that tragedy. It was horrible. And I love country music, so I go to country concerts all the time. I feel very safe at country concerts. I feel like everyone is full of love with country music, and the fact that so many people lost their lives, it just shocked me. So I kept driving, and then all of a sudden, this Hope Rises popped in my head, and I said, that's a perfect name, because in the end, no matter how much tragic things happen in life, hope always does rise. There's always hope in a situation.
Right.
And I lead by the word hope. I feel like it's so important for everyone going through tragedy. So I founded the logo, and actually I had a friend that created my logo for me because I have no graphic design talent whatsoever.
I like it. You get the feeling of the brand. That's the whole idea behind the logo is you see it 0.5 seconds.
Yes.
You have a feeling of where this company's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where the brand's going.
So I started it. My first story was actually about a colleague of mine. Her name is Melody. She's one of my Make-A-Wish colleagues, and she was diagnosed with cancer. I want to say when she was 16. She had a very, very low chance of surviving. She did survive. Her wish, she had a wish through Make-A-Wish, and now I work with her. And my first story was about her and her beating her cancer and how it brought her to now working for kids that have cancer. So that was my first story. It blew up. It was just, I couldn't believe how many people just love positive stories. Obviously, I love positive stories, but I didn't know it would resonate with others. And that's kind of how it happened. That was my first story in 2017. Now it's 2019. We're 50,000 plus fan base. We help families. We try to help families monthly, if not quarterly. We have raised money for other nonprofits. Like I said, we're probably right around $51,000 we've raised since 2017.
Congrats. That's just the beginning, too. I see what you're doing. Something I want to do is give you a little plug here, too. I am following Hope Rises on social. And, you guys are going viral. There's posts that have hundreds of thousands of likes, shares. I mean, your engagement is phenomenal. And that is inspiring because sometimes you go on social and you can see, people are getting political debates and fights and arguments and keyboard warriors where people are like puffing their chests out and kind of knocking people down.
Sure.
And sometimes I get caught in it. Like I'll see a video that pops up and then I click on the comments. It could be something like a sports team.
Sure.
Someone just won a playoff game and then the people on the other team called haters are sitting here bashing the fans. And it's like, what are people doing?
Yeah.
There's this negative attention that can really occur. So then when I see a Hope Rises post come up and there was one in the grocery store.
Gentleman. That was so special. Actually, the family that had posted that reached out to me and they said, thank you so much for bringing that, just so much attention to that story. It was amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you briefly?
Well, it was a gentleman.
That
was one of our most viral posts. It got millions of engagement, and it was a gentleman who was. I'm not sure what the medical condition was, but he was hunched over, and you see people shopping like that, and you feel horrible. You just, it's heartbreaking to see that. And a little boy went up to him. He was 11. He said, "How can I help you?" He took the time to really go up to someone, and sometimes it can be an embarrassing situation where you don't feel like you have the right to go up to someone and ask if they need help, but
you never know how they're going to react.
You don't know how they're going to react.
Like, get out of here.
This little boy, he was very courageous. He went up and he offered to help him grocery shop, and that gentleman said it was just so uplifting. He'd never had anyone ask to help him. So that little boy deserves to be recognized. He's a hero of our world. So we put him up on Hope Rises, and it just really, it went viral for sure.
That's awesome. That's the stuff that just like gives you that tingling,
Well,
there's literally hope. There's literally hope out there. You see.
And I appreciate people trusting me with their stories. Sometimes they'll come to me. They don't go to the news right away because they don't think the news might cover their story. Sure. And a lot of the news stories we post actually get picked up by News 4 or Channel 7 or Channel 2. So a lot of times they come to us first because they want to test the waters. And it's amazing. I appreciate people reaching out to me and even giving me their stories. It's really a trust, and they feel like we can really deliver their stories in a great way.
How would somebody do that? Do they submit it by sending like a Facebook message?
Yeah,
say,
Facebook
here's a
message.
story, and then you kind of do your research on see what it is?
So we're most active on Facebook. We do have an Instagram, Twitter, but we're not as active.
Sure.
But people can go to our website, hoperisesnews.com, and submit a story, or they typically just reach out to us via our Facebook Messenger, or they personally reach out to me because I'm listed as the founder of Hope Rises.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now we're gonna hang with Hope Rises for one more question here.
Sure.
So something that entrepreneurs naturally do because we really don't have a choice is overcome adversity. Doesn't matter who it is or what level of experience they have, right? You're gonna get ready for adversity because it's coming no matter what. So I know recently that you had a scary situation occur with Hope Rises. You had your Facebook account compromised, and I now know that you're back in control of your account, so thankfully minimal damage was done. But I wanted to discuss this because the lesson that it teaches, the strength of a community and the power of people coming together. Can you share what happened and how this was resolved with Facebook? I think this is an awesome story for our audience.
Yeah, it was super scary. So I was sitting at work. I got an email to my, personal email account, and it was said that my Hope Rises account was taken over. I was completely locked out of it, and it kicked me out of being an admin or an owner of the page, and I was confused. I wasn't sure if it was other team members, because I do have a list of team members that help me with stories, so maybe their accounts were compromised, something happened. So I contacted my husband, who is an admin to the page, and he said, "You're completely locked out. I don't even see you anymore." And he was still an admin, so he was able to re-add me. But a couple hours later, I was locked out again, and stuff started to get posted to our page. Fast forward a couple of days, I learned that someone had somehow got into our channel, took ownership of our page, and sold it to someone who wanted a good news page. So someone overseas bought our page and
ridiculous.
Wanted it for their own.
Nobody will notice.
Wanted our brand, wanted our followers, and they were starting to post stories. It was really unfortunate.
They actually were posting
they were posting a couple,
content?
a little bit, but you could tell it really was
that's wild.
Not me.
Yeah.
So it was horrible. So I contacted Facebook and I didn't hear back. So I took to my personal account and posted about the situation, and it just really blew up. We had hundreds of comments. I had so many messages, I couldn't even read them. People that said, "This is horrible. How can I help you? Because you've helped us so much." Right. So Facebook took care of the situation very, very quickly, because they said they got so many help tickets. Thank you so much to everyone for helping us. I didn't know if I could even regain access to my page. I would hate to have started over. That was my fear, was I'd have to really start over. I had all the content. I downloaded everything. But to start over fresh would have been really, really hard for me, because I put so much work and passion into this. So it was amazing to see how many people came through. Thank you, Facebook. They personally called me. They've been in touch since, making sure my page is all good. So I think we're good.
Yeah. Community coming together. Power of the people.
Cybercrime is just no joke, but yes, I agree. Power of the
people. Right, it is scary.
Sure.
I'm sure when you first saw it, you're thinking, "Oh yeah, I just typed my password in 3 times incorrectly, or something happened."
Something
and then
happened.
we check with my husband and see what he's thinking, and then the second he says, "I don't see your name listed," is probably when your heart sunk.
Yeah,
and then you started to go to battle on, let's take care of this thing.
And there were other individuals in my page as admins. So I saw their names, I saw their profiles. Yeah. And then I saw postings from them, and then they actually at one point made my page completely invisible so no one could look it up and see it. So my fear was that they were just going to delete it, and then there's no way to get it back. I don't know much about Facebook, how that works, but that was my fear. So thank God it was resolved.
It's not easy to do what you guys did in a short period of time because of how many people need to go through the approval process. So last thing on that, if somebody does have their account compromised, let's utilize this microphone right here in our audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. If they do have a situation like that, whether it's personal or business, what would you say the first step or first action step would be?
Just contact Facebook immediately.
Through the messenger,
just right through the messenger. Yeah. There's really no way to contact them. I do have emails now that I can reach out to if there's ever an issue in the future. But just voicing the fact that there's an issue, that really was what took care of it. I didn't hear back from Facebook for a long, long time. More than 24 hours. So as soon as I voiced that on my personal page and had all those comments, that's when they took care of it. So sometimes you have to just tell the story and see what happens.
Perfect. Hey, you are self-proclaimed to burst with Western New York pride.
I would like to think so.
And from following you now on social over even the last couple of weeks, because I did a little bit of homework leading up to today, I see it. I mean, it's obviously evident. So when learning about all the local programs and events that you're involved in, your passion for Western New York and the people here is truly special. Of course, you know that. But first, I wanted to celebrate that and thank you for everything that you are doing in our community here. But I'd like you to share what you love most about Western New York. So maybe something we didn't cover yet that makes this a special place, because I'm hoping people are listening to this more than just mom and dad and in Buffalo and West Seneca, New York. But so those that may be listening to this in other cities or anywhere in the world or here in Western New York, What do you love? Why is this a truly special place to be?
I feel like Western New York just has so much culture to it. There's a lot of different, ethnic groups and people that are just so, they embrace you. There's so much kindness here, and I know I literally talk about kindness all the time and why it's so important, but it really, everyone in this community, if you want to do something, they support you, they embrace your idea. You can always find 5 supporters that just want to help you. And that's something that just the city of good neighbors, it's so true. I've lived in Manhattan. I've been to other areas, and I feel like while those areas are fun and they're great, there's nothing like home, and there's nothing like the people here and how we just fully embrace each other. I just feel like I'm so intertwined in Western New York. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else because the people are really what make it special. Really good food, obviously. So I love to eat. I love to drink coffee. A lot of good coffee houses. I'm a very simple kind of person. I like simple things. And I love the weather. I mean, I'm not really a snowbird, but I love the change of the seasons. And my husband and I are fully Western New Yorkers at heart. And we can't imagine living anywhere else because this city is home to us, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like growing up, you're always looking for like the big shiny object, the big vacation you can go on. It's warm weather to escape the Buffalo climate. We grew up the same era. We had the excitement of the early success of the Bills in the 90s.
Go Bills for sure.
Go Bills, go Sabres. Buffalo and Buffalo love.
Yes, absolutely.
But we also have there's this outside of Buffalo. A lot of people, of course, kind of tie in that the negativity of the lack of success over the last couple decades, and then they look and they're like, oh, it snows there, it's cold there, and there's not too much going on. Everything just listed has nothing to do with the people here, the community here, the culture here. When you look at it from that and put that in a spotlight, that's why we're special.
Sure. Well, even the new brand, I don't know if you've seen it, but Keep Buffalo a Secret. I mean, really, keep Buffalo a secret because we don't need a ton of other people here unless you do want to come here.
If you don't appreciate it, sorry, it's not for you. See you later.
But I don't know. Whenever anyone makes fun of our city, I just laugh it off because they don't truly know the essence of our city.
And now you see the sports teams doing well, and all of a sudden it's getting more attention. People are turning around saying, "Oh, I believe now." And it's like, where were you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I love, I'll say this about the sports teams, and thanks to the Pagulas for keeping us in Buffalo. One Buffalo, right there, that just talks about like they realize there's a connection. The fans here connect on a different level, and so when you love the Sabres, you love the Bills. It's really it's a movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just I love this team, I'm going to root for them on Sundays, or I'm going to go to the games with my friends and family. It's a movement. And I know, like growing up, when the Bills would lose, it was like I felt like someone was beating up a sibling, and at the playground, like
Yeah,
I don't want to hang on that too long, but that's all part of our culture.
It's absolutely part of our culture.
I think it gives us a thicker skin, too, because we can handle some of that adversity that comes through.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, keep Buffalo a secret. If you don't appreciate it, that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that do, so.
Once we get in the next championship, we're going to apprip it more than anybody anywhere, right? So, right here, this is the highlight, right? Saving this for the end here. You have a beautiful family. I see that through your social as well.
Yep.
I see you spending a lot of time with your twins. You have a boy and girl,
yep.
and your husband, of course.
Yes.
I know there is no perfect solution for work-life balance, speaking as a dad myself. What is your mindset for a balanced life? Can you kind of talk about how you do all this stuff? And I'm not expecting you to give me like the perfect answer here, but how do you navigate through that on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, my twins come first. My husband comes first. I'm a very, very hard worker. I love my career. I'm very career oriented. But when I became a mom, that's my number one job. So when I leave work here, I try to really unplug. I don't have my cell phone on me. I'm tuned into my cell phone literally every hour of the day while I'm at work, just because marketing is so obviously very digital based media. I'm getting text messages from reporters, things like that. So I have to remain plugged in. But when I get home, there's a rule that I really try to just put my phone away. I'm not always good at that rule. My husband has to sometimes be like, wait a second, let's put that phone away. But I really only get 3 hours with my kids a day, because in the morning I'm rushing off to work. I work all day, work full time, and then I have a couple hours at night, but I always put them to bed. That's like one thing that I like to do. They still like to get rocked. They're 3 years old. I can't believe they like to get rocked, but they do. And I will rock them
It's
because
a special moment.
It really is. And my kids are so important to me. And ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be a storyteller, but I for sure wanted to be a mom. So I'm very lucky to have had beautiful, healthy twins, and that's my thing. And I really try to take a lot of vacations. So every year we try to go somewhere as a family. Yeah. And I feel like everyone needs to take the time for themselves, because you work so hard all year. Really take a time with your family. However you want to unplug or rejuvenate yourself. Maybe it's a trip away by yourself. Self-care is very important. But to me, we always try to take a family vacation, because that's what it's all about. I mean,
that's what you're doing it for. I mean, you have the people you're impacting through Hope Rises, through Make-A-Wish. That's your, I can tell, your motivation and your passion. But then you have people at home that you're passionate about, the daily grind, and you want to celebrate it with them. You know,
and I feel like the one thing that's good is I feel like my kids are going to respect me in the end, because I'm working so hard. And I think they already know that I'm working to help people. I'm trying to really instill that in their minds, that that's the number one thing in life, is that you should always, put others above yourself.
Service above self.
Absolutely. So I try to teach them that, and I think it's a lot of work that I'm doing, but I know that they know I'm helping others, and that's super important. On the weekends, I don't really try to work. It's all about them. So we have a lot of different activities we do on the weekends, and I'm just really proud to be a mom.
I'm confident that they're going to, through your experiences and your example, I always say actions speak louder than words, and I'm sure they're looking at Mom, and you are a true superstar. That's why I wanted to have you on the show, and I'm sure your husband appreciates that, and your twins appreciate that.
You.
And they're younger yet, so maybe the vocalizing it isn't quite there yet, but they are, I'm sure, going to be a big part of your mission and story, but also in their own right. We'll see where that leads them. But
the next 10 years.
They have a phenomenal role model.
Thank you.
And standing right by their side.
Thank you so much. And I think it's never easy. That's for sure.
Right.
So work-life balance is a struggle every day, but that's kind of what I try to live by.
And last question, and something we can leave the audience with here.
Sure.
If you were to give one message to anybody listening, right? Any walk of life, maybe any profession, doesn't have to be marketing related or philanthropy necessarily, but leaving them inspired to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. What would it be? What would that message look like?
Whatever your passion is, just follow it and lead with your heart. That's kind of what I do. And sometimes I jump into things and I don't know if they're going to work out, but I really just trust the process. That's such a Buffalo thing to say. But I really feel like...
Hashtag McDermott.
I know. But whatever I think my heart is passionate about, I just kind of put my full effort in. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does work out. But to me, that's the most important. So I would encourage all of you to just follow your dreams. And I know it's so cliche to say, but really, whatever is here, just really make it work. It might take a long time to do something that you want to do, or you may fail 12 times, just like I have failed multiple times. But in the end, you're doing what you want to do, and life is much too short to not do what you love. So yeah, that's my advice to all of you listening.
Cheers to that. That is, again,
cheers.
That's on the same mission of...
Coffee is life. That's all I gotta say. That's another thing. Coffee is life. So if you're not drinking coffee, you should be.
I have one off camera right here. Great mixed beverage, by the way. H2O.
Yes, H2O is very good.
So that was a phenomenal message. I'm glad we ended on that. I understand it myself. Now doing this podcast, really, it's as much as you can call it a business venture, it's really not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to help more people get connected through stories. Storytelling is something I love, and if it can inspire people. And I'll tell you this, like when I came up with the idea for the show, I'd like to share this because it ties in exactly with what you said.
Sure.
You could hear no by asking people to do the show or not even really knowing where you're going to go. But the excitement when you're actually doing it for no other reason than you just love what you're doing, you want to help people out, there is no moving in any other direction than forward. Even if you fail, you're failing forward. You're learning.
Yeah.
You either win or you learn. I love that quote. But this isn't something about like a big financial gain you're looking to do personally. You're saying, hey, use me, looking at the universe, looking up at God.
Yeah.
How can I transfer this, into a bigger cause?
Absolutely. As long as you're doing things in kindness, it's never wasted. So to me, that's the most important thing. If you're trying to help others, that's never wasted. So
right. I felt that initially in our conversations, actually, even before meeting today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or reconnecting after a decade plus. How can people tune in? Websites and social for both Hope Rises, Make-A-Wish, and also your personal, if you want to share that.
Sure.
If they can tune in on Instagram.
Well, I'm very active on Facebook, Pete Glaser, Hope Rises. It has a yellow sun logo. There's a couple Hope Rises, but yellow sun logo, and look us up on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram, hoperisesnews.com. Like I said, I'm also part of Make-A-Wish Western New York, so if you can please try to reach out to us and see if you ever want to help kids with critical illnesses. It's my number one passion, so feel free to reach out to me if you're ever interested in getting involved in a really, really beautiful nonprofit that provides so much hope and healing for kids going through the roughest time of their lives. So Make-A-Wish Western New York, obviously Hope Rises, and then I'm always available on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to make it very easy. I'll put the show notes, all of our social links will be in there for you as well. Hey guys, this is Mike, and I wanted to personally thank you for tuning in, for being part of my journey. Together we can make a positive impact in the world. I encourage you to take any of the stories or insights discussed during my interview with Kate and apply it to yourself personally. This is a special week. Thanksgiving is only days away, and I feel it's fitting for us to think about what we are truly grateful for. I recently read an article on dailyhealthpost.com that mentions the power of gratitude. Neuroscientists have found that if you really feel gratitude when you say or think it, you'll be happier and healthier. The regular practice of expressing gratitude is not a new age fad. It's a facet of the human condition that reaps true benefits to those who mean it. So here are a few suggestions that I also practice on a regular basis. Keep a daily journal of things you're grateful for. List at least 3. I find myself doing this when I'm driving. That's my personal quiet time. Before I put music or a podcast on, I spend the first few minutes of my commute in reflection, prayer, and a state of gratitude. Make it a point to tell people in your life what you appreciate about them on a daily basis. And lastly, when you look yourself in the mirror, give yourself a moment to think about a quality you like about yourself or something you have recently accomplished. Share this at the dinner table with your family and friends on Thursday, and make sure you have a happy Thanksgiving. Again, thank you for tuning in and spreading love. You can check out more show notes and information at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKED uppodcast.com, powered by Social Chameleon. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful.